Stephen, one game in charge, one win. You must be pleased with that performance this afternoon.
Well, the performance maybe, isn't the most important bit. I'd said to the boys yesterday when we had a quick chat that between that was 10 o'clock yesterday morning and kick-off time, it was about getting yourself prepared to come and win a game of football. At the end of the game and the referee blows whistle, I don't care how you get it, we want 3 points from the game and we want to take ourselves as a club on to 10 points. I don't care how we get it, it was never going to be pretty. It's been an emotional week all round. Last Saturday losing in Hamilton, losing during the week, playing 120 minutes, losing our manager on Wednesday. So there was a lot of emotion, a lot of players who are probably very regretful with what went on. So it was always going to be tough. It was all about just getting 3 points. And I think over the piece, they probably edged. They probably had more of the ball, they were better use of the ball. But when we had our big players like Scott McDonald popping up with a goal, like first goal of the season, then that's it's rewarding.
Was it good just to put that week behind us and get back onto the pitch and play some football? Was that important as well?
Well, that was a relief because there's been so much speculation. When they're looking for a new manager, there's always speculation around about the place, from people talking about bookies and people applying, different people in the press putting themselves forward. Players looking at that, reading at that, not too sure if I'm going for the job, will I get the job, will I not? So there's a lot of uncertainty. And it's difficult for players. I've been there myself. It's difficult at that stage to go and perform well, and play your natural game. It was going to be nervous, it was going to be edgy, because they were in the exact same position as us, where they were struggling for a little bit of form and struggling for results. So it was just a big grinding through it, having a lot of spirit, having men at the back towards the end. I thought Kennedy and Big Kieran and Big Steve McManus were terrific when you need them. When you need them to go and head the ball and make contact. So when you've guys like that, leading your team from the back, I was always confident we could see the game out. Of course, there's a few nervy moments and a few edgy moments. But with Big Connor in goal as well, a great physical presence, it just takes a little bit of pressure off you now and again. So I think overall 3 points was welcome. I'm not too sure if it was deserved.
You obviously worked hard yourself. Watching you from the back of the main stand, you were pretty active in the dugout. Your voice must be about to disappear. I'm sure you'll sleep tonight.
Well, actually, I'm going to Northern Ireland tomorrow for a day of my pro licence, and I could do with going home and going to my bed and sleep until Monday morning. It's certainly an experience, that's for sure. Somebody said, did you enjoy it? I said, I'm not too sure if enjoyment's the right word, and I'm sure many young managers or managers who've taken charge of the first game will tell you the same. It is, but you're trying to get involved in the game. You feel as if you can have an influence on the game. You probably don't, but you think you can, and you think if you're not trying to make an influence in the game, you think that you're not doing your job. So it's always nice to have someone like Stephen Robinson beside me, who's experienced, who's worked at international senior level, and he can see things and he can point things out. Jim Holman's been involved in the Premiership down in England with Cardiff and Noise in the Championship. So it's good to have these guys behind you, giving you experience and giving you little pointers here and there. Listen, I'm just a front man today. That's not my team. I didn't pick. I picked the team. I didn't sign those players. This is where it was always going to be a little bit feeling sorry for Ian Barraclough when he's lost his job, and that was his players and his team who won the game today.
You made some big changes. Obviously, you've only been 3 or 4 days, but you've been with the club since the start of the season. There were some big changes in the team, though, with Josh Law dropping out on the bench and Liam Grimshaw going right back and Jake Taylor not on the side at all. Was that just something you felt had to be done?
Listen, there was no direct, motive for me to go and do that. I just picked the team and I thought could go and win the game. Certain players have been playing reasonably well, so they deserve to be in the team. So it was trying to find another position for them where they could go and express themselves. So there was no intention of me to go and make subs. Someone asked me pre-match, I'd made 5 changes, and I said I generally don't know. I didn't even look at the team from Wednesday night and then pick Saturday's team off the back of it. I just picked the team that we thought could go and win the game. But someone like Stephen Pearson coming back in just gives us a little bit of a lift as well. I think just physically in the middle of the pitch, he gives us a little bit of a lift. And again, you speak about players and managers, and that's the one thing Ian didn't have. He didn't have Stephen Pearson on the pitch often enough this season. Stephen's probably our best player for the first half at Inverness, and he went off, and we couldn't really recover from it. We couldn't replace him. And you see the difference he makes in the team today just with his energy and his quality, even though he's only 50-60% fit. So the changes weren't deliberate. I just picked the team and I thought could win the game.
You also made an interesting change for me anyway during the game with Louis Moult coming on and being replaced by Jack Leaks. Was that purely tactical, Stephen?
It was, because we just felt Louis had played last week. He played during the week. We thought he looked a bit leggy. It's tough playing as a lone striker. When you don't have a lot of the ball and your service is not great, you've got to run channels, you've got to stretch the game. We felt as if we weren't maybe getting up the pitch as much as what we'd like. So suddenly to put Scott up there, Scott gives you that physical presence, and that was probably Scott's best performances in number 9, was up there retaining the ball and gives us an outlet to get up. So listen, if you make substitutions and you win the game, people don't really bother too much. Of course, there's always going to be analysis of who you bring on, who you bring off. The subs and tactics and shape, I told the players today, were maybe going to be irrelevant. It was going to be about them and where they could find something that would motivate them and push them and try and get them over the edge to get 3 points. And I think we found it.
So the obvious question obviously is Does this make you favourite for the job? Have you applied for the job, or are you considering it at all, Stephen?
I'll be honest, I haven't applied for it. I haven't. I was asked on Wednesday by the owner would I like to apply, and I said, well, things have moved that quickly, I said, I don't have the time to think. And he said, that's fine. I said, I've got a busy couple of days ahead. And he said, fine, leave it with you. We'll speak next week sometime. So we'll speak next week. Has it whetted my appetite? I don't really know. I think once I sit down and go over the game, I'm not too sure if I could go through those emotions for the next 5 years as a manager every single Saturday. My Saturdays up till now have been a lot more enjoyable. I mean, before the season started, the last 3 years, doing some TV work and just watching general games. So there's a lot of thinking to be done. I've got decent jobs at the minute with BT and also with the Motherwell under-20s. So there's a lot for me to give up to go and do that. And also, would it be a risk for the club to maybe bring me in? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. There's a lot of questions to be asked, a lot of talking to be done. But the most important thing for the players, from Stephen Robinson and Jim Holman as a staff and myself, was to win the game.
Thanks very much, Stephen.